All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay, with me Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. India to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070. India is the only major economy to have delivered on Paris Agreement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tells COP26 summit. PM Modi meets his UK counterpart Boris Johnson in Glasgow on the sidelines of COP26. India administers first dose of COVID vaccine to 78% of its eligible population and second dose to 35%. Australia recognizes India's COVID vaccine Covaxin to allow visitors jabbed with it. Prime Minister Modi thanks his Australian counterpart. Counting of votes begins for 3 Lok Sabha and 29 Assembly constituencies. Enforcement Directorate arrests Maharashtra's former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh in money laundering case. National Testing Agency declares NEET UG 2021 exam result. Mrinal Kuteri of Hyderabad tops the list with perfect 720 marks. GST collection surges to over 1.3 lakh crore rupees in October, second highest since its launch in 2017. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, England beat Sri Lanka by 26 runs in Sharjah. As India created history by administering 100 crore doses of vaccine against COVID-19, All India Radio salutes all the doctors, nurses, other frontline workers and all those who got vaccinated and made this possible. Even though the country has achieved this feat, we caution our listeners that the battle against COVID is not yet over. We appeal to our listeners to get fully vaccinated at the earliest and also help others get vaccinated. During the festival season, please follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011 2397 8046 and 1075. As the nation celebrates the 75th year of independence, a series of events have been organized by the government as a part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. To commemorate the occasion as a Jan Utsav, All India Radio News brings its listeners a special quiz on India's freedom movement and its glorious history. The quiz has been conducted every Monday and Tuesday in the morning news since 16th August and will continue till 15th August 2022. India Post has joined hands as the logistics partner with All India Radio News for the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. Recalling a yesterday's question, who founded Satya Shodhak Samaj to build a new society based on truth and equality? The correct answer is Jyotiba Phule. AIR News got an overwhelming response from its listeners across the world, and the one lucky winner of the quiz is Rajkumar Santra from Govindapur, Paschim Mednipur district in West Bengal. And coming to our 24th question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz in English, the acronym Lal Bal Pal is used for which freedom fighters? Name the movement with which they were associated with. I repeat, the acronym Lal Bal Pal is used for which freedom fighters? Name the movement with which they were associated with. Listeners can send their responses to the question over WhatsApp on 8826546262. I repeat, 8826546262, or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. Repeat, amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. India will achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070 and reduce 1 billion tons of carbon emissions from the total projected emissions by 2030. The country will bring down the carbon intensity of its economy by more than 45% by 2030. Delivering the national statement at the World Leaders Summit of COP26 in Glasgow, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said India will bring its non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatts by 2030 and it will fulfill 50% of its energy requirement through renewable energy by 2030.
क्लाइमेट चेंज पर इस वैश्विक मंथन के बीच मैं भारत की ओर से इस चुनौती से निपटने के लिए 5 अमृत तत्व रखना चाहता हूं, पंचामृत की सौगात देना चाहता हूं। पहला, भारत 2030 तक अपनी नॉन फोसिल एनर्जी कैपेसिटी को 500 गीगावाट तक पहुंचाएगा। दूसरा, भारत 2030 तक अपनी 50% एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी से पूरी करेगा। तीसरा, भारत अब से लेकर 2030 तक के कुल प्रोजेक्टेड कार्बन एमिशन में 1 बिलियन टन की कमी करेगा। चौथा, 2030 तक भारत अपनी अर्थव्यवस्था की कार्बन इंटेंसिटी को 45% से भी कम करेगा। और पांचवा, वर्ष 2070 तक भारत नेट जीरो का लक्ष्य हासिल करेगा। ये पंचामृत क्लाइमेट एक्शन में भारत का एक अभूतपूर्व योगदान होंगे।
Mr. Modi said the country constitutes 17% of the global population and its contribution to the emission has remained only 5%. But today the entire world admits that India is the only major economy which has delivered on the Paris Agreement in letter and spirit. The Prime Minister added that climate finance and transfer of low-cost technology has become even more important when India has resolved to move forward with a new commitment and new energy.
उस भूमि का प्रतिनिधित्व कर रहा हूं जिस भूमि ने हजारों वर्ष पहले ये मंत्र दिया था, समगच्छध्वम समद्वत्वम संवो मानसी जानता। आज 21वीं सदी में ये मंत्र और ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण हो गया है, प्रासंगिक हो गया है। समगच्छध्वम यानी सभी साथ मिलकर चले, संबद्धम यानी सभी मिलजुल कर आपस में संवाद करें, और संवो मनानसी जानता यानी सभी के मन भी आपस में मिले रहें।
He said all climate finance promises have been empty ones so far and developed countries must ensure $1 trillion climate finance at the earliest. Mr. Modi also opined to track climate finance just like we track the progress of climate mitigation.
फ्रेंड्स, जब मैं पहली बार क्लाइमेट समिट में पेरिस आया था तब मेरा यह इरादा नहीं था कि दुनिया में हो रहे अनेक वायदों में एक वायदा अपना भी जोड़ दूं। मैं पूरी मानवता के एक चिंता के साथ आया था। मैं उस संस्कृति के प्रतिनिधि के रूप में आया था जिसने सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः अर्थात सभी सुखी रहे का संदेश दिया है। और इसलिए मेरे लिए पेरिस में हुआ आयोजन एक समिट नहीं, सेंटीमेंट था, एक कमिटमेंट। और भारत वो वायदे विश्व से नहीं कर रहा था, बल्कि वो वायदे 125 करोड़ भारतवासी अपने आप से कर रहे थे।
Prime Minister also called for making lifestyle for the environment a global mission.
आज विश्व मान रहा है कि क्लाइमेट चेंज में लाइफस्टाइल की एक बहुत बड़ी भूमिका है। मैं आज आपके सामने वन वर्ल्ड मूवमेंट का प्रस्ताव रखता हूं। ये एक शब्द है लाइफ, LIFE, यानी लाइफस्टाइल फॉर एनवायरमेंट। आज जरूरत है कि हम सभी लोग एक साथ आकर कलेक्टिव पार्टिसिपेशन के साथ लाइफस्टाइल फॉर एनवायरमेंट यानी लाइफ को एक अभियान की तरह आगे बढ़ाएं। ये एनवायरमेंट कॉन्शियस लाइफस्टाइल का एक मास मूवमेंट बन सकता है। आज आवश्यकता है माइंडलेस और डिस्ट्रक्टिव कंजम्पशन के बजाय माइंडफुल और डेलिबरेट यूटिलाइजेशन की। ये मूवमेंट एक साथ मिलकर ऐसे लक्ष्य तय कर सकता है जो डाइवर्स एरिया जैसे फिशिंग, एग्रीकल्चर, वेलनेस, डाइटरी चॉइसेस, हाउसिंग, पैकेजिंग, हॉस्पिटैलिटी, टूरिज्म, क्लोथिंग, फैशन, वाटर मैनेजमेंट और एनर्जी जैसे अनेक सेक्टर्स में एक क्रांतिकारी बदलाव ला सकता है।
Our correspondent covering the event has filed this report.
Today is the last day of World Leaders Summit of COP26 and the Prime Minister will attend several events. He will participate in leader-level event organized with the COP26 presidency around the theme of clean technology, innovation and deployment. One of the important events is the launch of Global Green Grids initiative. Besides, Mr. Modi along with Australia and UK Prime Ministers will launch a new initiative for infrastructure for resilient island states. It is aimed at creating coalition for putting in place infrastructure that can withstand disasters and lessen economic losses in island nations. Several bilateral meetings, including with Switzerland, Finland, Israel, and Nepal, are also scheduled to take place on the sidelines of COP26. Divakar, AR News, Glasgow.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met his UK counterpart Boris Johnson in Glasgow on the sidelines of COP26. Mr. Modi congratulated Mr. Johnson for successfully organizing the COP26 and for his personal leadership in championing global action for climate change mitigation and adaptation. Mr. Modi reiterated India's commitment to closely work with the UK on climate finance, technology, innovation and adaptation of green hydrogen, renewables and clean technologies. During the meeting, the two ministers reviewed the implementation of the Roadmap 2030 priorities, particularly in the trade and economy, people-to-people, health, defense and security areas. In the wake of the UN Climate Summit or the Conference of Parties COP26, All India Radio brings to you a Ready Reckoner. Under the COP26 Explainer series, we will bring you daily the terms and concepts that will be in use in Glasgow. Today we shall talk about what is climate finance. Climate finance is the flow of funds to all activities, programs or projects that support climate change related projects, whether mitigation or adaptation around the world. Funds can come from a wide variety of sources, public and private, bilateral and multilateral, and alternative sources of finance. At the Paris Agreement in 2015, developed countries committed to a goal of mobilizing jointly $100 billion a year by 2020 to address the needs of developing countries for meaningful mitigation actions. Subsequently, this target has been pushed to the year 2023. India has consistently called for greater contribution to climate finance from the rich countries for the developing countries to combat climate change. At COP26 in Glasgow, Prime Minister Modi said that India expects the developed nations to make available the climate finance of $1 trillion at the earliest.
Union Health Minister Dr. Mansukh Mandavia has said that India has administered first dose of COVID-19 vaccine to 78% of the eligible population and second dose to 35% of the eligible population of the country. In a tweet, Dr. Mandavia termed it an extraordinary feat of an extraordinary nation. He congratulated all, saying that we rapidly progress on a path to defeat the virus. India's COVID vaccination coverage has crossed 106 crore 79 lakh mark. Out of the total vaccination, more than 73 crore 43 lakh vaccine doses have been given as first dose, while over 33 crore 36 lakh doses have been administered as second dose. Health Ministry said more than 47 lakh 79,000 vaccine doses were administered till 7 p.m. yesterday.
मिलकर विश्व बचाएं सबकी जिम्मेदारी ये संकट दूर भगाएं.
Australia has recognized India's COVID vaccine, Covaxin, allowing those vaccinated with it to enter the country. Australia's recognition to Covaxin comes soon after the US eased travel restrictions for Covaxin vaccinated travellers by allowing trial participants to enter without having to quarantine. Prime Minister Modi has thanked his Australian counterpart Scott Morrison for this. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said it is an important step forward in the post-COVID partnership between India and Australia. While WHO emergency use listing for Bharat's vaccine is awaited, 16 countries have so far recognized Covaxin for travel purposes. You're listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. India to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070. India is the only major economy to have delivered on Paris Agreement, Prime Minister Modi tells COP26 summit. Prime Minister Modi meets his UK counterpart Boris Johnson in Glasgow on the sidelines of COP26. India administers first dose of COVID vaccine to 78% of its eligible population and second dose to 35%. Australia recognizes India's COVID vaccine, Covaxin, to allow visitors jabbed with it. Prime Minister Modi thanks his Australian counterpart. Counting of votes begins for 3 Lok Sabha and 29 Assembly constituencies. Enforcement Directorate arrests Maharashtra former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh in money laundering case. National Testing Agency declares NEET UG 2021 exam result. Mrinal Kotere of Hyderabad tops the list with perfect 720 marks. GST collection surges to over 1.3 lakh crore rupees in October, second highest since its launch in 2017. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, England beat Sri Lanka by 26 runs in Sharjah. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Counting of votes has begun for 3 Lok Sabha and 29 Assembly constituencies spread over 13 states and the Union Territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli, where by-elections were held on October 30th. The Lok Sabha seats where by-elections were held are Khandwa in Madhya Pradesh, Mandi in Himachal Pradesh, and Dadra and Nagar Haveli. All 3 Lok Sabha seats fell vacant following the death of sitting MPs. The by-elections for 29 Assembly seats were held in 13 states, including Assam, West Bengal, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Bihar, Karnataka, Haryana and Maharashtra. Enforcement Directorate has arrested Maharashtra's former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh after more than 12 hours of questioning in Mumbai in connection with the money laundering case. Deshmukh, who had stepped down earlier this year from his post amid a row over bribery allegations against him, was refused relief by the Bombay High Court on Friday as he had appealed for the cancellation of the summons by the probe agency.
National Ayurveda Day is being observed today. The day is celebrated on Dhanvantari Jayanti to create awareness about the health benefits of Ayurveda and to promote Ayurvedic lifestyle. The theme of this year's Ayurveda Day is Ayurveda for Poshan. The main event of Ayurveda Day will be held at the National Institute of Ayurveda in Jaipur, Rajasthan. Ayush Minister Sarbanand Sonowal will launch a short film based on scientific achievements in the field of Ayurveda Poshan and a booklet on benefits of Ayurveda-based nutritious diet.
Ayurveda is perceived as one of the most ancient and well-documented system of medicine equally relevant in modern times. The National Ayurveda Day is celebrated every year on the occasion of Dhanvantari Jayanti, Dhanteras, since 2016. Lord Dhanvantari is considered as divine propagator of Ayurveda. Last year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had dedicated 2 future-ready Ayurveda institutions, the Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, Jamnagar, and the National Institute of Ayurveda, Jaipur. Government has taken several steps to promote Ayurveda, due to which the exports of Ayurvedic products have increased. The significant increase has been witnessed in export of spices like turmeric, ginger, considered as immunity boosters. Ayurveda has also proved its significance during COVID pandemic, as the Ayurvedic medicines improve the immunity of the people to fight against COVID infection. With Dipendra Kumar from Jaipur, Suparna Saikia, AIR News, Delhi.
Now let's listen to a special program, Azadi Ka Safar, highlighting the importance of the day during the freedom struggle.
Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. Birth of a Nation. India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. AIR News brings you a glimpse of this struggle every day.
It was on 2nd November 1929 that a conference of prominent national leaders, including Mahatma Gandhi, Madan Mohan Malviya, Sardar Patel and others, issued the Delhi Statement as a response to the declaration by Lord Irwin on October 31st, 1929. During this time, the Simon Commission was touring India and facing protests everywhere.
Simon Commission! Bharat Mata Ki Jai!
While Indians across the country unanimously boycotted the Simon Commission, there was opposition in London also against giving concessions to the Indians, and it was debated in the Parliament. The declaration by Irwin was an attempt to restore Indians' faith in the ultimate purpose of British policy. He persuaded the Indian National Congress's leadership to come to the Round Table Conference.
Gandhiji issued the Delhi Statement in an attempt to find a middle path for the ensuing issues. The main points of the declaration focused on adoption of a policy of general conciliation to induce a calmer atmosphere in the country, granting of general amnesty to political prisoners, and securing the representation of progressive political organizations. The statement also underlined that a more liberal spirit should be infused in the government of the country.
However, when Gandhiji met Irwin on 23rd November 1929, the Viceroy rejected the offers given in the Delhi Statement.
Today is the birth anniversary of renowned physician, social reformer and ardent propagator of science, education and research, Mahendralal Sarkar. He was born in Pekpara village of Howrah district in the Bengal province on the 2nd of November in 1833.
He was the founder of the first National Science Association of India, namely Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, where Nobel laureate C.V. Raman and many other scientists started their scientific experiments.
Mahendralal Sarkar was educated in the traditional European system of medicine, but later turned to homeopathy due to the inability of ordinary Indians to afford treatment with Western medicines, and played an important role in promoting the use of alternative medicine systems.
In a meeting of the Bengal branch of the British Medical Association, he proclaimed homeopathy to be superior to the Western medicine of the time, for which he was ostracized by the British doctors. However, he went on to become a leading homeopathic practitioner in India, and in the course of his career treated several notable persons of those days, including the author Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay, the ascetic Ramakrishna, and Maharaj of Tripura.
Sarkar was a humanist who believed that science could add to the prosperity of humanity, and the cultivation of modern science was required to remove poverty and ignorance of Indians. For this purpose, he established the Indian Association for the Cultivation of Science, IACS, in 1876.
The association held regular lectures to popularize science among the masses. Sarkar also supported women's education. He arranged for freedom fighter Sarala Devi Chaudhrani's attendance in the evening lectures at IACS so that she could pursue higher studies in physics.
Mahendralal Sarkar died on 23rd February 1904, but his legacy of reaching out to Indian citizens and popularizing science education and research has left an indelible mark on Indian society. We salute this great Indian and his love for the motherland.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Azadi Ka Safar with AIR News. See you in the next episode tomorrow.
In some more news, Ministry of Women and Child Development has launched Nari Se Kharidari campaign in partnership with Facebook as the festive season begins in India. In a tweet, Women and Child Development Minister Smriti Irani said, "Women-led development and vocal for local are two clarion calls given by Prime Minister Modi, which have today become a mission for every Indian." Our correspondent has filed this report.
Last year, ahead of the festive season, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had given a clarion call to go local for vocal.
लेकिन आपको याद है ना, खरीदारी मतलब वोकल फॉर लोकल। आप लोकल खरीदेंगे तो आपका त्योहार भी रोशन होगा और किसी गरीब भाई बहन, किसी कारीगर, किसी बुनकर के घर में भी रोशनी आएगी.
Since then, people from all quarters of life have come forward to promote and encourage local manufacturers and produce. In line with this vision, government in its policy and spirit has always supported women entrepreneurs. Therefore, Women and Child Development Ministry has launched Nari Se Kharidari campaign as the festive season begins in India. Every year around this time, earthen diya vendors and flower sellers can be seen selling their wares, most of them being women. The Nari Se Kharidari campaign has come as a boon for these women, with people flooding social media with photos of their purchases from female vendors. Nari Se Kharidari initiative will definitely light up many homes this festive season. Suparna Segya, AIR News, Delhi.
National Testing Agency NTA has declared the result and paved the way for admission in medical colleges across the country. As many as 98,000 students have qualified as NEET cut-off marks was dropped from the previous year. Mrinal Kuteri of Hyderabad has topped the National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test NEET UG 2021 exam. He scored a perfect 720 marks in the NEET exam.
The GST revenues for October have been the second highest ever since the introduction of GST, second only to that in April this year. Gross GST revenue collected in the month of October is 1,30,127 crore rupees. Out of this amount, CGST component is 23,861 crores, SGST is 30,421 crores, IGST is 67,361 crore and cess is 8,484 crore rupees. In T20 Cricket World Cup, England beat Sri Lanka by 26 runs in Sharjah last night. Earlier, Sri Lanka won the toss and chose to field first. Today, South Africa will take on Bangladesh, while Pakistan will clash with Namibia.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for today. Srinagar will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm. Jammu will have partly cloudy sky with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. Leh is likely to witness mainly clear sky. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. The temperature will hover between 3 and 23 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky. The minimum temperature is 8 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 26 degrees. The national capital Delhi will have partly cloudy sky. The temperature will vary between 15 and 29 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will also have partly cloudy sky. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. Kolkata will have mainly clear sky and Bangalore is expected to have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. The Glasgow COP26 Climate Summit dominates headlines in almost all the dailies this morning. India pledges new climate crisis goal, net zero by 2070, leads Hindustan Times. Modi-Johnson take up trade, Afghanistan, writes the Tribune. In related stories, the Asian Age quotes British Prime Minister Boris Johnson as saying, world strapped to a doomsday device. The Statesman quoting Prime Minister Modi writes, adapt, not just mitigate. GST collection surges to 1.3 lakh crore rupees in October, second highest ever, informs the Indian Express. Cannot impose blanket ban on all firecrackers, says Supreme Court, notes the Hindu. Forget death for Patna blast at Modi's rally, reports the Pioneer. And finally, vax is Oxford's word of the year. Well, the Times of India writes, apologies to jab, short and Fauci ouchie. Oxford Languages 2021 word of the year is vax.
And before we end the bulletin, a reminder of today's question of the Amrit Mahotsav quiz. The acronym Lal Bal Pal is used for which freedom fighters? Name the movement with which they were associated with. I repeat, the acronym Lal Bal Pal is used for which freedom fighters? Name the movement with which they were associated with. WhatsApp your response on 8826546262 or through email on amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. I repeat, amritmahotsavquiz@prasarbharati.gov.in. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. India to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070. India is the only major economy to have delivered on the Paris Agreement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi tells COP26 summit. PM Modi meets his UK counterpart Boris Johnson in Glasgow on the sidelines of COP26. India administers first dose of COVID vaccine to 78% of its eligible population and second dose to 35%. Australia recognizes India's COVID vaccine Covaxin to allow visitors jabbed with it. Prime Minister Modi thanks his Australian counterpart. Counting of votes begins for 3 Lok Sabha and 29 Assembly constituencies. Enforcement Directorate arrests Maharashtra's former Home Minister Anil Deshmukh in money laundering case. National Testing Agency declares NEET UG 2021 exam result. Mrinal Kuteri of Hyderabad tops the list with a perfect 720 marks. GST collection surges to over 1.3 lakh crore rupees in October, second highest since its launch in 2017. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, England beat Sri Lanka by 26 runs in Sharjah. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.